Hi, this is Fazana again. In this video, we'll continue to look at completing the square, which is a method of solving quadratic equations and sketching the curve. In my videos on factorizing quadratics, we sketched the curves and were able to mark the x and y intercepts. This method does one better. It enables you to find the minimum or maximum point from completing the square expression. Let's look at halving odd numbers. Okay, so if you were asked x squared minus 3x minus 10, then with my previous videos, you remember you just leave the minus 10 for the moment and sing the song. So you've got x minus, now when you're halving the 3, leave it as an improper fraction. So x minus 3 over 2 squared minus half of that, so 3 over 2 squared, and then bring in your minus 10. Okay, so just copy this bit out, x minus 3 over 2 squared. Now, minus 3 over 2 squared would be 3 over 2 times 3 over 2, which when you multiply fractions straight across, so it'll be 9 over 4. So you've got minus 9 over 4. And here with the 10, I'm actually going to say what is 10 as a fraction over 4. So you can see it'll just be 40 over 4. So I've got 40 over 4. And the reason I did that, you can tell, is when I just copy this bit out, you'll get 49 over 4. And again, a smile comes on your face because you realize these are both square numbers. Okay, so that's your completed the square expression, and you could just say 49 over 4 is minus 12.25. Okay, so your minimum point is what makes that expression 0. So 3 over 2 is 1.5, so it would be 1.5 and minus 12.25. So that's your minimum point. Okay, but for the purpose of solving it, I just leave them as improper fractions, and then I would plus 49 over 4. So I've got x minus 3 over 2 all squared equals 49 over 4. Okay, and then our normal steps, square root, and if at this point you want to convert it into a decimal, that's fine, equals, and now you can see when you square root 49 over 4, and that would be plus or minus, it will give you plus or minus 7 over 2, which is plus or minus 3.5. Okay, and then we isolate the x, so add 1.5, and you've got x equals 1.5 plus or minus 3.5. So your x is 1.5 plus 3.5 is 5, or x equals 1.5 minus 3.5, which is minus 2. Okay, let's try and sketch that. And when we sketch it, we'll see that 0 minus 10 is the y-intercept. The minimum point will be 1.5 minus 12.25, and your x-intercepts will be 5, 0, and minus 2, 0. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Okay, all right, so your y-intercept is 0 minus 10, your x-intercepts are 5, 0, and minus 2, 0, and your y-intercept is 0 minus 10. Okay, just to go off on a slightly different topic, and this question, this never quite gets taught in schools, but it always somehow appears in exams. So if you're actually given x, you're given these x-intercepts and the curve, and you're asked to find the equation of the curve of the parabola, then you know that whenever we're trying to solve the equation, we always change the sign of the x. So this curve has actually come from x plus 2, and then you change the sign of the 5, so it would be x minus 5. Okay, so it'll be y equals, and then we'll just cheat. So I hope you've watched my video on expanding brackets. So we know it's going to be x squared, and then you add your numbers. Minus 5 plus 2 is minus 3, and that's what's attached to the x, and then you multiply your numbers, so it'll be minus 5 times 2 is 10. So can you see you actually arrive at the equation? If the only point they give you is the minimum point, which was 1.5 and minus 12.25, then you know it's come from completing the square. So then, and you know with the x value, we actually change the sign. So it's come from x minus 1.5 all squared minus 12.25, because our y coordinate was as is. So if you expand this out, you can tell you're going to get x squared, and then minus 1.5 plus minus 1.5 is minus 3, and that's what's attached to the x. And then a minus times a minus will be a positive, and 1.5 times 1.5 is 2.25. And then you add your minus 12.25, and then when you add those together, you're going to get y equals x squared minus 3x minus 10, which is your equation. Okay, so if you're asked it the other way around, you know where you got the x-intercepts from and where you got the minimum point from. And then, of course, they might turn around and say, that's point P, what are the coordinates? So then you can easily say, oh, it's 0 minus 10. Okay, so I hope that helped. Let's have a look at another example. Okay, so you've got x squared minus 5x minus 14. We'll leave the minus 14 for the moment, and we'll go sing the song. X minus 5 over 2 all squared minus 5 over 2 squared minus 14. Okay, copy that bit. X minus 5 over 2 squared, and then minus, and then 5 over 2, 5 halves times 5 halves equals 25 over 4. So I've got minus 25 over 4, and if I put 14 as quarters as well, then you can see 14 times 4 is 56. Okay, so you've got x minus 5 over 2 all squared, and then minus 25 minus 56 will come to minus 81 quarters. And again, you're smiling because that's a square number, or both square numbers. Okay, so your minimum point will be, what value makes that 0? So that will be 2.5. And your y coordinate will be as you see it, so it'll be minus 20.25. Okay, all right, let's go solve. So we add the 81 over 4, and you've got x minus 5 over 2 all squared equals 81 over 4. Square root both sides. You've got x minus 5 over 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 81 over 4, which is plus or minus 9 over 2, which is plus or minus 4.5. Okay, now we'll convert that into a mixed number, so we're adding 2.5. So x equals 2.5 plus or minus 4.5. So x equals, adding them, you get 7, and x equals 2.5 minus 4.5, so that's minus 2. Okay, I hope that helps. So odd numbers aren't really that odd. It's quite easy to solve it. All right? Okay, that's all for now. I hope that helped. Knowing how to play with fractions is so important in all the topics. The same goes for negative numbers. It doesn't matter how well you know a topic. If you're not perfect with fractions and negative numbers, it'll break your rhythm and your workings will totally collapse. In part 5, we will work on completing the square, which we're great at by now, and solving, where you have to deal with a minus x squared. Keep focused and keep practicing. Remember, you're in control. Until next time, take care.